got through town. I'm starting out on the Monumental Loop. I just got to the Oregon Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument. About to head out into the desert. It's a Sunday. I decided to drive earlier this morning. I got here around 2 o'clock local time. It took about an hour and a half or so to get lunch, find some water to fill my bottles, and get my bike all packed up. It's a good ride through town. Glad to be out of town. There's a lot of traffic for a Sunday. My plan is to go maybe 20 miles today, not too far. It's 5:30 right now local time, and set up camp, take it easy, have a nice relaxing evening. On the route map there was a place to camp fairly close by, so I'll probably set up camp there, relax for the evening. I wanted to get the traffic out of the way before I really get started, so that's why I left half day. Get the driving out of the way, avoid rush hour traffic tomorrow morning, and just get out into the wilderness. So far it's been a good ride. Rode along some canals for a while, and now heading into the desert. That's where I'm at, and I'll probably chat with you again when I get to where I'm setting up camp. Beautiful desert evening, starting to cool off. It was about 88 degrees. I didn't look at my Garmin to see what it was showing, but that's what the weather forecast was, and it sure felt like it was in the 80s. Morning. Whoa. Of course there would be some deep gravel right there. All good now. I'm on day 2 of the Monumental Loop. Slept pretty good last night. It's nice and quiet. A little warm early in the evening, and then got kind of brisk in the morning, which was nice. Unfortunately, I woke up to a flat tire. I had a low tire yesterday. I stopped and filled it up, thought the sealant would do its magic. And as soon as I got onto the single track, it got flat again. So I stopped, filled it up, and I could hear air escaping. So I stopped and plugged the hole, thought it was good. I was able to make it to camp. Only about 21 miles yesterday. I wasn't planning on going that far. So this morning I put 2 more plugs in that same hole. That's where it was leaking. 3 plugs in that hole do the trick. I am surprised. I don't know what I hit that would cause that big of a hole. Nice view of the Las Cruces Valley at night with all the lights. Quite a bit of light pollution, so stars weren't all that bright. Hopefully I'll get that tonight. My goal today, is to get to Hatch, have a late breakfast, early lunch, whatever that might be, depends on what time I get there and what I feel like eating. And then head around and start up the big climb. I don't know that I'll go all the way to the top. I think I'll only go maybe 60 to 70 miles today. This isn't really a race for me or an ITT. I'm really just trying to dial in the bike still, figure out where to pack stuff. It was a little confusing last night pulling stuff out because I'm just not used to where I have everything packed. So hopefully, 3-4 days on the trail, I'll be able to dial in what gets packed where so that it's easy to find. You find as you do these bikepacking trips that things change. Where you had something, you no longer like where it's at, and you want it someplace else. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm gonna get back on the trail. I'm on some double track right now, got through the single track section. A couple spots were a little bit too technical for me with the bike, all loaded up. Onward I go. Rio Grande. Not a whole lot of water down this far south. I'm sure there's quite a bit more in Albuquerque, but it looks like it is running some. Just going over a little bridge. Water looks fairly clean. Mostly passing through orchards and farmland. A little bit of a cross breeze blowing right now. Tomorrow is supposed to be pretty challenging. The wind is supposed to pick up into the 30-mile-an-hour sustained range, and I think based on how it's blowing right now, that's going to wind up being a headwind pretty much most of the day, and the wind is supposed to continue through the next day. So I think tomorrow is going to probably be my most challenging day in terms of effort. I also need to finish the big climb that I'm going to start today. I think I'm, I'm 14 miles in for the day, so I think I have another less than 20 miles to Hatch. I am running a little bit low on water. I have a 32-ounce bottle left, so I might keep my eyes open. I suppose I could fill up here at the Rio Grande, but I'd have to figure out how to get down to the water. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to continue heading towards Hatch, and I'll probably stop there, like I said earlier, have something to eat, refill my bottles, make sure I have plenty of fluids for the night, and then head on. That was a long ride from camp this morning. Actually, was running pretty low on water. Had a little bit left in my electrolyte mixed drink bottle. It's a 32-ounce bottle, and I think I was down to maybe 10 ounces, and that's all I had left. And so I was rationing it pretty good. And then I came across this watering hole for the cattle. It's called Kimball Well. So you can see both tanks are full of water. Doing a little exploring. Around on this side, I see that there's a water tap from the pump that goes down to the well. So turned that on and a trickle came out and then it stopped. Did a little more exploring and found a control unit that's mounted up near the solar panel, and it was unplugged when I got here. So I plugged that in. Still didn't get any water, and I looked, and attached to that little wire is a little sinker. When I pulled that out of the water, it started to, the pump started running, water is coming out, the tap started working. So I am now completely full on water. Everything's full. I filled up my 2 64-ounce bottles, and I filled up my Camelback and my 32-ounce bottle, and I also drank probably a full 64-ounce bottle of water while I was filling everything up. So I'm well hydrated again. It's good timing for sure. I think I still have maybe 10 to 12 miles to get into Hatch, so it is taking me way longer than I thought it was going to. The riding hasn't been bad. I'm really liking my new gear ratios. I was able to go up some 12% grades, just slowly spinning at about 3 miles an hour, not using a whole lot of watts, so I wasn't really overdoing it. There were a couple really deep sandy spots, and I did have to get off the bike on those spots and do some hike-a-bike, just because I'm running 50 millimeter tires, which are kind of narrow, and I sank right down into that sand. So I could see where people had ridden through, but as soon as I did, my tire sunk in and I was done. So walk through those sections. Looks like I have, it looks like maybe an 8% climb going up that hill right there, maybe 6%, I don't know. So it's been kind of rolling hills. It's cloudy out, so it hasn't been too hot, which is good because I haven't been sweating nearly as much as I would have been if it was forecasted to be about 80, 85 today, and it feels in the 70s, which is nice. So tomorrow is when it's supposed to get really windy. The temperature's supposed to drop. It's going to get pretty chilly overnight. But right now I'm going to head into Hatch, have some lunch, and then head to my camp spot. Camp spot's only maybe 15, 20 miles out of Hatch. It should be a short afternoon. I think I'm going to stick with my original plan. There's supposed to be a place to camp that's out of the wind. And with the wind forecasted to pick up really strong overnight, I think it's a good idea just to find a place that my tent's not going to blow away. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this loop. It doesn't have a ton of steep climbing. I've been able to test out the new gear that I have. I am still having to stop occasionally to fill up that rear tire. So it is still leaking air, which is kind of disappointing. I can try to stick another plug in that hole. I think that's where it's coming from. I don't know. Maybe I'll pour some water on it since I'm here and see if I can see if maybe there's another leak that I didn't catch. That's probably a good idea. Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, that's it for now. See you. Well, I'm about 10 miles or so from Hatch, back on the pavement. Unfortunately, about 6 miles back, I hit a rock that sliced a pretty large hole in my front tire. So the tube was actually poking, or there was no tube. I put a tube in, and when I tried to pump it up, the tube started poking out. So I deflated it, and I put in a LMNT electrolyte packet that was empty to use as a boot. I don't know if you can see, but you can actually see the packet poking through there. Pretty large slice. The rear tire, has been going flat since I started this trip almost, and it actually has 3 holes in it. All of those holes I was able to plug and just stop and refill. One of them's still leaking. I can see air coming out around the plug. So I don't know if I just don't have enough sealant in there, but it's not. I do have to stop every 5 to 10 miles and pump that rear tire up. I stuck a tube in my front tire, made it to the pavement, and unfortunately, about a mile and a half, 2 miles before I got to the pavement, the tire was going low again. I stopped at the pavement to let my wife know that I was having some tire troubles, and when I looked down, the tire was completely flat. I don't trust these tires, the WTB Venture tires, to get me around the Monumental Loop. I don't think they can handle it. It's 10 miles in one direction to Hatch, and 30 miles in the other direction back to Las Cruces. And on this paved road, I think I'll be calling it a ride here. I'm only about 50 miles into the loop, which is really disappointing. Beautiful loop, fun single track at the beginning, great desolate Jeep trails and gravel roads that got me here. But with how many flats I've had so far, I don't want to be 30 miles from someplace where I can get help if I need help. I still have a pretty close to full water complement from the stop at the well, so I don't really need to go to Hatch. So that's my plan. I'm gonna call it a ride here, do the 30-mile ride back into town on this paved road, And maybe I'll come back someday and actually do the Monumental loop on some tires that can actually handle it, because these tires are not good. The co-motion, the bike itself is great. The fit is perfect. The gearing with the changes that I made is right where I need it to be. I can go up 8 to 10% grades without any real issue. My heart rate stays relatively low. If it pops up to 12%, I can get over short 12%. But if it's extended, that's going to turn into hike a bike at some point, because that'll just pop my heart rate up. But I think for the Tour Divide, most of that is 6 to 8% grades, long grades, and this bike will handle that just no problems at all. So I still need to learn where I want to pack stuff in the bags. And I think the wheels are getting there. So replace the aluminum rims with carbon fiber rims. And now I need to replace the rubber with some rubber I trust. I may go back to Maxxis. I don't know. I'll decide that when I get home. But I'm certainly not riding this rubber on any more long rides. And that's it, I guess. But my plan is to get a hotel room and then head home tomorrow. Disappointing for sure. I was enjoying the route. Like I said, I'll be back and finish it someday. It's just this one just didn't work out for me. Very disappointing. I feel fine. I think I ate and hydrated properly. I did run out of water, or came close to running out of water before I hit that well. But food-wise, I was fine. So nutrition, I think, is dialed in. It's just the wheels. Just the wheels. All right, that's it. Hello. I'm obviously back at home in the mountains, just riding some single track this morning. But I thought some of you may have noticed my Uphill Into the Wind jersey, so I thought I'd give them a shout out and let you know what that organization's all about. So Uphill Into the Wind is a 501c3 nonprofit charity created in honor of Bob Griffiths. Bob was a great guy. He had lung disease, so all of his rides felt like they were uphill into the wind. I met Bob when I was training for the America's Most Beautiful Bike Ride, which is around Lake Tahoe, with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society charity ride. So I was fundraising for that event, and Bob was providing support and gear, or SAG. I remember Bob was always smiling whenever you showed up to get some help, more water, some food, whatever you needed. He was there. All right, so Uphill Into the Wind was created to help people fundraise for cycling charity events. They loan bikes to people who can't afford them or just aren't sure they're going to enjoy cycling. And then they also do a professional bike fit to make sure that the bike fits you, and provide regular training opportunities with the group. They provide a training schedule so you know how to train for your first charity cycling event, whether it's 10 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles, it doesn't matter. You apply online at their website, uphillintothewind.org. It's a great organization. It's based in Phoenix, Arizona, and they also loan out bikes from Tucson. I'll provide the link down below, and also a link to apply. If you know anybody who's interested in participating in a charity cycling event in the Phoenix or Tucson areas, pass along the link to them so that they can get a bike free of charge that they can use, and also some good training how to use that bike. I love this jersey. It's very high visibility so people can see me. Yeah, Uphill Into the Wind is all about being able to participate safely in a charity cycling event. Shout out again to Uphill Into the Wind. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to give me a like and a subscribe. I'll probably be posting the Fool's Loop next, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, bye.